Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be building my first custom keyboard. I've been looking at custom keyboards for a while now, and I'm super excited to finally be building my own. Okay, so let's get started with the components. For the case, I went with the GMMK Pro, which has a 75% layout and is gasket mounted. As I took it out of the box, it felt far heavier than any other keyboard I've previously owned, as it's fully made out of CNC'd aluminum. This is a kit, so it comes with the aluminum plate, the 5-pin hot swap PCB, and the G.O.A.T Stabilizers. This kit includes foam between the PCB and plate and between the PCB and the case. I also did buy the polycarbonate plate for an extra $20 on top of the $170 for the GMMK Pro. Okay, so the switches are Durock Linear Moss Switches. These have a polycarbonate top housing, a nylon bottom housing, and a palm stem. I opted for these because, well, the alpacas were out of stock, and these are pretty similar to it except for they come with no factory pre-lube and they have a different spring weight. The Durock Linear Moss switches are a very ordinary switch out of the box because there's no factory pre-lube included. As a result, I chose to lube and film the switches, and I was actually extremely satisfied with how they turned out. But mind you, lubing and filming is an extremely long process, but in my opinion, it's worth it. I enjoy learning about new things, so this was kind of like fun and boring at the same time. So to lube the switches, I separated all the parts of the switch into separate bowls, and I used the lubing method of Teja types, but I also did apply a little bit of lube on the top housing. So after I finished lubing the switches, I put them into the GMMK Pro in its stock configuration. I just wanted to see how it would sound if I put it in the GMMK Pro just like that, and then I would do the modifications later. Since this is my first custom keyboard, I thought that the stock configuration was not that bad, but I knew that I could make it better. Now it's time for the modifications. So first I unscrewed the case screws, which were surprisingly hard, but eventually it came out. Then I took the board apart, but I kept the PCB and the plate intact because I didn't want to remove all the switches as I had just put them in. So I started messing with the case foam, and I liked it better with the case foam because it sounded less flat and a bit more deep, although without the case foam offers a bit more flex. So while I was adding the case foam back, I also applied the triple gasket mod, where I add 2 extra gaskets on top of the bottom gasket. So this would result in a increased amount of flex, which the board does not have much of. And since I was gonna keep the aluminum plate, hopefully this could make it better. I used the aluminum plate because I didn't really want to take it apart at the time, and now that I have it all set, it sounds really good and it feels really good, so I'm just going to keep it as aluminum. Maybe I'll try polycarbonate in the future, but right now I'm just going to keep it as aluminum. One thing to note if you're doing the triple gasket mod is only use the 4 corner case screws to screw it in, and only screw it in loosely. If you use all the screws or you do it tightly, then it will eliminate the purpose of the gasket mod. To sum it up, I'm very pleased with the way this keyboard turned out. The 75% layout is just right, the aesthetics are nice, and the triple gasket mod made the acoustics quite lively. The only downside I would probably mention is definitely the stabilizers. Glorious definitely needs to do a better job with their stabilizers, especially if they're gonna call it the G.O.A.T Stabilizers. Other than that, this turned out way better than I expected. Here's a quick sound test so you guys can see how it sounds like, and enjoy.